What if the real reason attraction fades isn't that you're not good enough, but that you become too easy to read, too predictable, too available? Most men are taught that love is built by giving more time, more reassurance, more effort. But Machiavelli would call this a dangerous misunderstanding of human nature, because the moment you stop being a question, you stop being exciting. The moment you make someone the center of your universe, the pursuit ends. And today, we're exposing the uncomfortable truth about why attraction dies, and how it's quietly destroyed by the very behaviors meant to protect it. Most men believe that being present creates attachment. They believe consistency creates desire. They believe that emotional openness and constant reassurance will make them valued. But desire doesn't grow from what is always there. Desire grows from what can be lost. When something is guaranteed, the mind relaxes. When something feels scarce, the mind focuses. This isn't cruelty. This is psychology. Machiavelli understood that people protect what feels uncertain and neglect what feels secure. Attraction follows the same rule. The moment someone senses that your attention, your time, and your emotions are unlimited, their subconscious shifts from excitement to comfort, and comfort does not create obsession. Comfort creates stability, but stability alone does not create desire. Most men make themselves constantly available. They reply immediately. They rearrange their schedules. They explain themselves when questioned. They believe openness creates closeness. But what they're really doing is removing tension. And tension is the engine of attraction. Machiavelli warned leaders never to appear desperate to please because eagerness signals weakness. In attraction, the signal is the same. When you are always available, you communicate that nothing in your life competes for your focus. No mission, no momentum, no inner direction. And this silently lowers perceived value. Scarcity doesn't mean ignoring someone or playing games. It means your life is genuinely full. It means your attention is earned, not automatic. It means silence doesn't make you anxious. Because when you go quiet, the mind fills the space. When she doesn't know what you're doing, she wonders. When she doesn't know when she'll hear from you, she anticipates. When she isn't sure how emotionally invested you are, she invests more trying to find out. This is not manipulation. This is how uncertainty activates the human brain. When your presence is predictable, it fades into the background. When your presence is selective, it becomes meaningful. Availability weakens gravity. Scarcity creates it. That's why men who are always there are often taken for granted, while men who are slightly out of reach are constantly pursued. Not because they're cruel, but because their absence creates emotional movement. Attraction is emotional, not logical, and emotions respond to contrast. Desire exists because distance exists. When you stop over-giving, you allow her to step forward. When you stop over-explaining, curiosity replaces certainty, and curiosity is the doorway to obsession. Most men fear being scarce because they fear being forgotten. But that fear itself is what destroys attraction. The man who needs validation repels it. The man who is grounded without it attracts it. Scarcity also reveals intention. Someone who is only casually interested will drift when access is limited. Someone who is truly drawn in will lean closer. Either way, you win. Now here's where power really shifts. Attraction isn't controlled by effort. It's controlled by who sets the emotional direction. Machiavelli taught that whoever defines the situation holds authority. Whoever reacts to it becomes subject to it. In relationships, this plays out constantly. Most men live inside someone else's emotional frame without realizing it. They change behavior to avoid tension. They adjust tone to match moods. They wait for signals before acting. This isn't connection. It's compliance disguised as interest. The moment you start reacting instead of leading, you surrender psychological control. When she pulls back, you chase. When she tests, you explain. When she goes cold, you give more. And each reaction sends the same message. Her emotional state governs your behavior. And once that message is sent, attraction begins to decay. Machiavelli warned that leaders who appear uncertain lose trust. In attraction, uncertainty about yourself creates the same loss of confidence. Safety may create comfort, but it does not create desire. Controlling the frame doesn't mean being cold or dominant. It means self-possession. You act from your values, not emotional pressure. You give attention intentionally, not reflexively. You don't rush to neutralize every moment of tension. Women are highly sensitive to emotional leadership. Tests are not meant to push you away. They're meant to see if you remain grounded under pressure. When you over-explain, seek approval, or abandon boundaries, you fail the test without knowing one was given. A man who holds his frame doesn't ask permission to be himself. He doesn't negotiate his standards in emotional moments. His calm does more than words ever could. Most men think harmony comes from agreement, but respect comes from firmness. When your reality bends too easily, it loses shape. This is why chasing clarity kills attraction. Demanding reassurance reveals discomfort with uncertainty, and discomfort reveals dependence. A grounded man can tolerate silence. He can allow space without panic. He can let things unfold without forcing control. And that emotional stability creates gravity. Machiavelli wrote that people follow those who appear certain, even in chaos. In attraction, certainty is not about outcomes. It's about identity. You know who you are regardless of how she responds, and that confidence invites alignment. Frame control also means refusing to compete for attention. Competing signals lack. Walking away signals abundance. What is maintained by chasing was never power to begin with. Now comes the part most men misunderstand completely: emotional uncertainty. Men think obsession comes from clarity and reassurance, so they define the relationship early. They reveal all their feelings. They eliminate doubt as fast as possible. But what they really eliminate is curiosity. Obsession is not born from certainty. It's born when emotions are engaged, but conclusions are incomplete. When feelings are activated but answers are missing, the mind keeps returning to resolve the tension. Machiavelli wrote that people desire what they cannot fully control and fear what they cannot fully predict. The man who creates obsession is not unstable. He is stable in character, but selective in emotional access. This is not hot and cold behavior. It's calm restraint. You don't narrate every emotion. You don't close every open loop. And the brain hates open loops, but it obsesses over them. By leaving some things unsaid, you let her mind do the work, and whatever the mind works on, it values. Obsession doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from unanswered questions. Why did he say that? Why did he smile and then go quiet? Why does he seem interested but not dependent? Those questions create inner dialogue, and inner dialogue creates attachment. Reveal enough to engage, never enough to remove mystery. Let her feel you, but never fully possess you, because what cannot be fully possessed is never easily released. And now the final law, the one that makes all the others permanent, the ability to walk away, not as a threat, not as a tactic, but as a genuine position. Most men say they could leave. Very few actually can. And women sense the difference instantly. The man who can't walk away negotiates his value. He tolerates behavior. He resents. He trades self-respect for access. That is not love. That is emotional survival. Machiavelli warned that dependence is the fastest path to weakness. The moment someone senses that losing them would destabilize you, the power dynamic shifts. Walking away is not something you announce. It's something you embody. It shows in what you tolerate, in what you don't argue about, in what you calmly remove yourself from. A man who can walk away doesn't beg for understanding. He observes, decides, and moves forward. That calm decisiveness is rare, and rarity creates value. When you are willing to lose a connection rather than lose yourself, something unexpected happens. She doesn't feel controlled. She feels free, and only in freedom does desire survive. The less you cling, the more she chooses, not because you demanded it, but because your world doesn't collapse without her. True attraction is not created by status, looks, or money alone. Those are tools. The foundation is inner stability and self-direction. When she realizes that your life continues with or without her, she faces a real choice. Step into your world or step away from it. And real choice is what makes attraction conscious. Walking away also protects you. It filters out chaos, manipulation, and emotional drain. It ensures that whoever stays does so by choice, not tolerance. Respect is where lasting desire grows. That is why the ability to walk away is the strongest attraction signal of all. It shows confidence without arrogance, strength without aggression, value without noise. Nothing is more magnetic than someone who respects themselves enough to leave what does not respect them. Machiavelli didn't teach people how to be loved. He taught how power works. And attraction follows the same laws. Scarcity makes your presence meaningful. Frame control makes your reality solid. Uncertainty keeps the mind engaged. And detachment makes your value undeniable. Most men fail because they try to secure desire instead of letting it grow. They overgive, over-explain, and over-attach. But effort without leverage does not create devotion. It creates familiarity. And familiarity kills mystery. When you stop chasing outcomes, stop fearing loss, and stop negotiating your worth, you become grounded, calm, and internally sovereign. And from that position, attraction is no longer something you pursue. It responds to you, not because you trap someone, but because you never surrender yourself. And desire that is chosen, not forced, does not fade. It deepens.